So one of the first things we need to do is to decide which video we are going to work with. I have 3 to choose from here. I think I'm going to take the one that has a little bit of fine detail, like this one here. Yeah, this one has a nice sort of central collection of bubbles in the middle. It is a little bit shaky, so that will be a good example to see if the image stabilizer from PowerDirector can help us with that. But it's other than that, it'll be a good one to start with. So before we do anything with this, we might want to stabilize it. We can then also convert it to AVI. This is the format, or to image sequence. One of the 2 formats that we can use in Dogwaffle. AVI would be good because then we can load it into the animated brush directly. So let's first see how to convert that to AVI, even if we didn't do the image conversion. This one here right now is a movie file, .mov, so if you have QuickTime or some other tools to convert a movie file to an AVI, you can use that. One that I like to use or recommend is WinFF. That's a free tool based on or built on top of FFmpeg. And WinFF has a great number of formats you can convert to. And what I'll use is I'll convert it to AVI, so I'll just drag and drop this video right in here, and I'll tell it to place it into a sequence. Let's give it another folder name here. There will be a new folder on the Edible Planets, and we'll call that Sequence 2. Sequence 2 up, and we should probably move this up so you can see it. There it is, Sequence 2. That'll be the folder in which we'll save this. The format I'm gonna keep, I'm not sure which one to use, widescreen, full screen. I haven't really experimented with the AVI. Let's give it widescreen and AVI format, and then maybe have the additional options. You see that under here under options. Additional options is checked, so that way we can see the additional options here, and maybe we can give it additional FFmpeg, like what's the additional for same Q? I think it's simply Q scale, quality scale 1, right? So that it will keep it at the highest quality possible. The video width, the size, we can say, well, the original is 1280 by 720. Maybe we don't care to have it that detailed when we work on it at that point, but maybe we do. So let's keep it as that for now. We can say 2 passes to make it a little bit faster, higher quality, and let's go. So this conversion should now basically take, I would say probably about a minute or so, maybe less. Depends a lot on the speed of your system, the speed of your hard drive, the speed of your RAM, the speed of your processor, how many cores you have, and whether the software that you're using is actually multi-core enabled. You can use the Control-Shift-Escape to see the Windows Task Manager, and I'll give you an idea as to whether each of the cores were busy doing that conversion. Well, the conversion, first pass is done, second pass on its way now. I think that's what we just saw scrolling through here, and once that's done, we should have a nice high quality rendering in AVI file format, using in this case the DivX or XVID codec. And I believe we should be able to take that into Dogwaffle. So let's give it a few more seconds and see how that goes. What do we have so far here? That's gotta be the second pass. Almost done, I bet. It's gonna be very high capacity at 31 megabit per second. Pretty large file. We probably overdid that a little bit. For just a quick demo, we might not need it really. I will recommend, you know, if you ultimately need this very high definition and high quality, you might want to do that eventually. But as you're exploring, as you're testing things, you may not need that. You might want to try something a little bit lighter. Lesser bit rate, smaller file size, smaller dimensions, and so on, just to get it done really quickly, so you know exactly what you want to do at some point, and then you can go do your final render at the higher quality. Alright, another sip of my coffee here while we wait. And there we are. Of course, the moment I stopped it, or paused it, it was done a few seconds later. So okay, so we got this video there now, and we ought to be able to find it here somewhere in that same folder. Where's my folder? Sequence 2. There you go, and there it is. Let's see what the file size is. Let's give it details. Oh, not too big, 33 megabyte. Let's go run that through Windows Media Player, and there it is in all its original size beauty. Pretty high detail. Yeah. Alright, so we should be able to load that into Dogwaffle at this time because it's an AVI file. So let's switch over to our Dogwaffle session. I think I have it running here somewhere already, or not. So let's start. Oh, there, yep, there it is. Alright, so let's go and go to the animation menu and load this AVI right there. And I'm currently looking at sequence 1. Let's go up 1 level to sequence 2, and there it is. And we should be able to load this. Pretty large file, 269 frames at HD 720p each, 1280 by 720. Seems like that's gonna fit in memory since we were able to allocate it. We allocate the memory first and then we grab each of those frames in. So that's doing a nice little work there right now to load this entire movie into the Dogwaffle framework. And from there we'll be able to work with it. But again, this was the original video, a little bit shaky. We probably need to stabilize it first. We will use a different tool to do that. Power Director is a great tool for that, and that will be a different video. But anyway, this already shows how we were able to just load it to begin with. If we did not need to stabilize it, like if we want to play it at 60 frames, now we can very quickly go there and show it that way. 60 frames a second, 25, 30, commonly used resolutions or speeds. Playback speeds. And so at this point you can click on image and see the image info, which confirms indeed it's a 1280 by 720 buffer width and height, and the total number of frames. If you go to the last one, you'll see the frame at number 268. So there's a total of 269 frames, because when you go to 0, the last one, the first one on the left side here is frame 0. So that makes it a total of 269 frames for that video. And now, if for instance you did not need to keep this at that high resolution, one thing you could do, first of all, is crop to the portion of real interest. So you could zoom out a little bit here and perhaps define a zoom region with the ellipse to alpha, right? Get something in the middle here and give it an oval, something like this, and perhaps even blur this alpha region a little bit. With the selection overlay alpha, you could show where you have your selection and where you don't, and then you could go to perhaps blur it a little bit. Selection, blur alpha, where is it? There, you could do the Gaussian blur or the box filter alpha. Either way, if you use this, you get a little bit of a smooth transition on that selection. And let's make it precise, we got time for that. Let's go to selection store alpha, so we can see, oh no, we got the inverse of the selection, so we need to invert this. We need to invert alpha, and we really should that before the blurring, because we get a little bit of a blurring along the edge there too. So let's undo this, right? And actually this was a giveaway right here on the edge, as we see the marching ants along the edge. That told us that it selected something on the outside. In fact, the coloring also, you know, when we switch to enable the overlay alpha, the purple being on the inside here indicates that that is the part that's not selected. So let's go and invert it. There you go. And now we don't have the marching ants on the sides, we have them just on the edge of where that selection lives. And we can go to blur that, something like so, and then we can go and perhaps have a look at the stored alpha to see indeed where that selection exists, and that's on the inside now where the white zone is. and let's go pick that up. So one thing you could do here is just pick this entire one image. If you did that, you would go to user selection as a brush, and you've now picked that up. You can store and manage this brush, and you see indeed the inner part of this foam island, and then the rest around it is transparent. But that's not an animated brush, that's just a static single brush. So we'll see in the next parts how to grab this entire animation into the brush as a custom animated brush.